This episode is brought to you by Sterling Soap Company. How often do you think about your soap? Well, if you answered, not much, maybe you should. You see, a lot of what passes for soap in stores is technically not soap, according to the FDA's definition. It's full of lab-created chemicals and detergents because, well, it's cheaper to make. Now, what if you could buy natural soap made from natural ingredients like tallow, palm oil, coconut oil, and scented with essential oils, and for just a little more than you'd pay for grocery store soap? Sterling Soap is 100% natural, and with a wide variety of bath soaps, shave soaps, beard balm, lotions, and cologne, there's a product and a scent for just about everybody. Check them out for yourself at sterlingsoap.com. That's STIRLING soap.com.
Hey there, sports history fan. This is Darren Hayes, host of the Pigskin Dispatch and Jersey Dispatch podcast. I hope you've enjoyed another great episode here on Sports History Network. Now, speaking of sports history, this episode was brought to you by Firefly Books, and they have two great ones for you this summer. For basketball fans, they have the NBA 75, the definitive history by author Dave Zarum, who's appeared on our Jersey Dispatch podcast recently. He tells about the experience, the thrilling journey of the NBA, from its humble beginnings to its modern glory. Uncover the untold stories of triumph, controversy, and the greatest stars of the game. This isn't just a book. It's courtside seats to over 75 years of NBA history. And for the golf enthusiasts, swing into The Golf Round I'll Never Forget by Matt Adams. Relive 50 of golf's most memorable moments through the eyes of the legends themselves. From Garcia's triumph at the 2017 Masters to Nicklaus' miraculous 1986 comeback, it's the closest you'll get to walking the fairways with golf's greatest. Get your summer read on. Grab a copy of NBA 75 or The Golf Round I'll Never Forget, available online or at your favorite bookstore.
This is Basketball History 101 with Rick Loayza.
Welcome back to Award-winning Basketball History 101, part of the Sports History Network. I'm your host, Rick Loayza, and this is the podcast where we bring to life some of the forgotten stories from basketball history. We are bringing old school basketball to a new school audience. And today we bring you the story of the very first dunk contest. Now, I'm not talking about the first NBA dunk contest in 1984. That was the centerpiece of something brand new that the NBA called All-Star Weekend. Prior to 1984, the NBA simply held an All-Star game on a Sunday afternoon. But in 1984, they expanded it into a full weekend starting on Friday night, moving through various events all day on Saturday, and culminating with the All-Star game on Sunday afternoon. Now, while all of that is well and good, the first formal dunk contest was held back in 1976, and it was not the NBA that held it. It was the old ABA. Jimmy Carter was the new president, gas prices were going through the roof, and bell-bottoms were still all the rage. It was also the final season of the ABA, although nobody knew that for sure during the season. Rumors had been brewing for years that the ABA and NBA were going to merge into one big league, but it had not happened yet. In the meantime, the ABA was trudging along while facing major financial struggles. A couple of their teams had to shut down operations during the 1976 season. The Baltimore Claws, the Utah Stars, and the San Diego Conquistadors did not even make it to the ABA All-Star Game before they had to close down their teams. By the time the 1976 ABA All-Star Game arrived, there were only 7 teams left in the league. The ABA was scrambling to reschedule those canceled games. The ABA game schedule was fluid, to say the least. The people at the ABA headquarters in New York had to find new matchups for the games that had previously included Baltimore, Utah, or San Diego, and it had a direct impact on the All-Star game itself. The ABA used to have their All-Star format similar to what the NBA did for years. They did a Western Conference against the Eastern Conference. It's very simple and straightforward, but with so many teams folding, the powers that be had to come up with something new. So here is what they decided. Since the Denver Nuggets were the host team for the All-Star game, they decided to just have the Denver Nuggets play against a team of All-Stars from the remaining 6 teams. So really, It was the Nuggets versus the All-Stars, and the ABA needed this game to go well. It was going to be the first nationally televised All-Star game for the ABA, so they had to put on a good show. They had to sell out the arena. The last thing that they needed was an empty arena on television, so they hired Glenn Campbell, the country music legend, to play a pre-game concert. And that was actually a great idea, as he was extremely popular at the time and could sell a ton of tickets just to hear him play. And his hit song, Rhinestone Cowboy, was still on the radio. The next thing that the ABA needed was a great halftime show that would look good on television. They could not just have a house band or a baton twirler. Now, no offense to baton twirlers, but they needed something that could keep people's attention through the entire halftime. So they decided to have a dunk contest. Everybody at the ABA thought that this was a fantastic idea. But then came the next question. How do you put on a dunk contest? What are the rules? You see, today we take the dunk contest for granted. Back then, they were just inventing it from scratch. Nobody had ever seen one before, therefore, nobody knew how to make it happen. So they decided to have 5 players in the contest, and the 5 players had to come from the existing pool of All-Star Game players. They did not have the budget to fly in non-All-Star players to participate. So the players that were selected were Dr. J, Julius Erving, David Thompson, Larry Keenan, Artis Gilmore, and the Iceman, George Gervin. So at the end of the first half, everybody got ready for the dunk contest. And the two teams did not even go back to the locker room. They stayed on the court because none of the other players wanted to miss this. They all knew that the ABA had some great dunkers, but to put the best guys against each other in a formal dunk contest was gonna be amazing. Except for one thing. Since the dunk contest was held at halftime, it meant that the dunkers had already played half a game of basketball. So their legs were a bit tired. Now, nobody ever thought of that, and in today's NBA, the dunk contest is held on Saturday night, and it rarely features all-star players anymore. My point is that in today's dunk contest, everybody has fresh legs. Also, most of the players spend quite a bit of time planning out their dunks ahead of time. Many even spend a week or two prior to the dunk contest practicing their dunks back at their home practice facility. But in 1976, none of the dunk contest participants even thought about how to plan out their dunks. Again, this was the first time a dunk contest was happening, so nobody really knew how to approach it. Julius Erving has said that he did not put a single moment of thought into his dunks. He said that all the dunking that he ever did was in games, and he never thought about them. He just let his body do what came naturally. He just reacted to the moment because in a game, he was dunking in real time with a real defender trying to stop him. In a dunk contest, there was no defender. He could do whatever he wanted, and that is the part that worried some participants. How would a dunk look if there was nobody trying to challenge you like a defender would? In-game dunks are sometimes referred to as posterizing the defender because the photo was going to become a poster. Or a great dunk could also be called getting wallpapered because the photo became the wallpaper for a mobile phone. So, going into this contest, the players were already a bit tired and had no idea what kind of dunks they were even going to do. The only sense of a plan was actually from Dr. J. He had always claimed that he could jump from the free throw line for a dunk, but nobody had ever actually seen him do it. He never jumped from that far in a game, and it was not like he was practicing it at home or anything. But he did say that he was going to give it a try. Now, you can imagine how this went with the other All-Star players who were there just watching. They started having side bets on whether or not Dr. J could pull off a free throw line dunk. But Dr. J was not going to open with the free throw line dunk. He was going to keep it in his back pocket until he really needed it. Well, as the contest went on, Keenan, Gilmore, and Gervin were quickly eliminated to nobody's surprise. Everybody had already figured that the contest would come down to Dr. J and the Nuggets' own David Thompson. And Thompson started the final round with a simple 360 dunk that absolutely wowed the home crowd. Many had never seen anything like that. How could a man stay in the air long enough to do a complete 360-degree spin in the air and still be high enough to dunk it? It was incredible. Now, for the next dunk, Dr. J grabbed 2 balls and casually strolled from half court to a spot underneath the basket. I mean, just the way that he walked was so smooth and athletic. He found his spot under the basket facing midcourt holding two of those red, white, and blue ABA basketballs. Then, very casually, he jumped straight up into the air and dunked both balls into the basket. I mean, watching it today, it looks pedestrian. There are high school players who could do that dunk, but at the time it was mind-blowing. The crowd roared with surprise that a man could stay up there long enough to dunk two balls before returning to the ground. It also helped that Dr. J had absolutely enormous hands, even for someone of his height. He could easily palm both basketballs without losing control of them, and in his hands, the basketballs looked like those small souvenir balls. The contest went back and forth for a bit, but now it was time for Dr. J to pull out the free throw line dunk. And I will say this for Dr. J, he was a showman. He knew how to excite a crowd. He grabbed the basketball and walked over to the free throw line and appeared to be examining it like he was a forensics investigator. And then he jogged off 7 paces to the opposite three-point line. And he stopped just inside that three-point line and turned back to the basket that he was going to dunk on. And he was 3/4 of the court away from the basket and just stared it down, letting the anticipation build. This was it. This was going to be the free throw line dunk. He leaned back like he was a long jumper at the Olympics and then started his run. He did not dribble the ball like many would have assumed. He palmed the ball the entire way. He started to pick up speed as he approached the free throw line. His afro was fluttering in the wind. And did I mention that he was running while palming the basketball with just one hand? On his 9th step, he placed his plant foot right on the free throw line and soared like an eagle. He held the ball high above his head and then slammed the ball home with ease. He might have had a few inches to spare on that one. He actually cocked the ball back a bit before slamming it home, and the crowd went wild. The announcers were going wild. The other All-Star players were cheering and laughing, and some of them were handing cash to others because they had just lost their bet. It was a bit of pandemonium in the arena. Nobody had ever seen anything like that before. It completely changed what people thought was possible for a dunker. Then, Dr. J finished with some bonus dunks to entertain the crowd. He reverse dunked it, then he went up and grabbed the rim with one hand to pull himself even higher, then dunked it with the other in a power slam. But these dunks did not count. He had already won the contest. He was just entertaining people for the sake of entertaining people. He then finished with a dunk where he waved the ball around for a bit before slamming it home sideways. Dr. J was the first and only ABA dunk contest winner, and it was an incredible success for the television audience. He did exactly what the ABA hoped that it would. Of course, that summer, the leaders of the ABA and the NBA came together to hammer out a merger agreement where the NBA would allow 4 ABA teams to join the league and the rest would go away in a series of buyout agreements. The 4 ABA teams that joined the NBA were the San Antonio Spurs, the Denver Nuggets, the New York Nets, and the Indiana Pacers. In 1984, when the NBA decided to bring back the dunk contest, they made sure to make it the feature event of their Saturday night events. Of course, in 2025, it seems that we are starting to hit the limits of what the human body is capable of when it comes to creative dunking. But you never know. At some point, someone will come along who will try to dunk it from the top of the key. And I hope I live long enough to see that. Well, that is it for today. Thank you for joining me on this ride back to the 1976 ABA dunk contest. Join us next time when we share another story from the annals of basketball history. That's next time on Basketball History 101, part of the Sports History Network, the headquarters of Sports Yesteryear. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com to find out more about this and other sports history podcasts. If you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts. And check out our page on Facebook. It's called Basketball History 101 Podcast. There you will find short historical posts, and I'll also announce there when new episodes come out. I want to thank my producer and editor, Jacob Loayza. Join us each week as we continue to mine the history of basketball for more great stories from the past. Take care, and see you soon.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
The Sports History Network, where legends live on and the past plays loud. Welcome to the place where history's proud. From gridiron glory to the hardwood stars, from the racetrack heat to Olympic bars. It's the voices, the stories, the moments you miss, told by fans and pros who live for this. Hook and Themic, the Sports History Network, where the past comes alive. Podcasts and blogs that keep the flame high. From Babe to Brady, Alley to the Dome. If it's history and sports, then this is the home. SportsHistoryNetwork.com, the headquarters of sports yesteryear.